So I couldn't really think of what to say in my speech, so I just typed high school graduation speech into Google, and I put together some things it came up with, if that's okay. Okay, so here we go. Wow. We made it, guys! This is it! You know, if someone had told me as a freshman that in 4 years we'd been graduating, well, I would say that's not possible. But when I look out at the rows and rows and rows of smiling faces, all I can think of is how proud I am of you guys. I'm proud of us. I mean, it feels like just yesterday we were all... I swear I wasn't gonna lose it today. I'm sorry. Seriously though, why is it that in moments like these, we always find ourselves resorting to cliches? Or I shouldn't say always, I should say often. But then I guess what else can you say in the face of such an overwhelming change? This Hancock, as I was walking towards the bathroom to get ready for bed, it hit me that this was the last time I would ever be getting ready to go to bed at Hancock. I must have looked really upset, because Sophie Bucci came up to me and hugged me and asked what was wrong. I blurted out, "Sophie, it's the last Hancock!" With a pat on the arm, she told me, "Don't worry, it's only your last Hancock." I'll still be coming back next year. And she was right. Our class is leaving, but Commonwealth will go on without us. In Boston, you can see the layers left by each generation to inhabit the city. In Copley Square, the reflective walls of the John Hancock Tower, like the cloaking device of some alien spaceship, stand out next to the stone tiles and the steeple of the old Trinity Church. Over generations, the landscape of the city is constantly being shaped and reshaped as a result of the ideas that people put out into the space. More than that, people build off of whatever the previous generations have left them. They reuse old materials to build things that never existed before. Just look at Back Bay. Right now, we're standing on a pile of trash that used to be water. Or look at the building on 151 Comm Ave in Dartmouth. As Mr. Wharton told us in Readings and Ethics, this building wasn't built as a school, but as two separate townhouses. People used to eat breakfast in front of the stained glass windows in their dining room. Opposite the windows, there was a large safe that held the family's silver. And servants used to inhabit the rooms upstairs. Then in the 50s, the building became home to the Catherine Gibbs Secretarial School. And the giant room on the second floor was used as a typing hall. Now the typing hall is a library. The old dining hall is our headmaster's office. The servants' quarters are teachers' offices. And the safe holds used copies of Thomas More's Utopia. I checked. Even now, in the form of a school, the building is being reshaped as we speak. As our class, along with some of our teachers, leave, new students and teachers come in to make of it what they will. When I was little, I used to really like trains. I really liked the fact that they could take you to new places and new things. I think subconsciously that's part of the reason I wanted to go to Commonwealth. You had to take a train to get there. Since then, one of the things I've come to love about Commonwealth is how everyone is constantly pushing you to try new things. This year, I joined cross country on Mr. Clifford's suggestion. Anyone can join, he said. It turns out the other people who did join were mainly tall boys. Some not tall, but like all boys. And they were all very, very good at running. And by good, I mean Mr. Clifford would start and say, "So, where do you want to run today?" And they'd say to Charles MGH, and "Let's just run to the BU Bridge." And I'm like, okay, we can run to the BU Bridge, but they meant all the way around the Museum of Science on the other end to the BU Bridge and back. So, it's just, I never really caught up with them, I think. And I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I even cried a few times, trying. Sometimes before practice, I would go to Miss Haber, and we'd spend our advisor meeting eating Dove chocolates and complaining about male competitiveness, and then analyzing the little inspirational remarks on the chocolate wrappers, and that helped. And I actually kept them in my pocket for practice. At one point while I was running, after falling so far behind the rest of the runners, I could no longer see them, I stopped. Gasping for air, I groped for one of my inspirational quotes. It told me, "Stop. You are right where you are supposed to be." Anyways, when I told Mr. Clifford I wanted to quit because it was clear I didn't belong there, he said, "What do you mean you don't belong here?" "This is my only goal for you in cross country, my only request. I want you to do something that you never thought you could do before." When I was a sophomore, I took Miss Serrier's Chem 1 Advanced class. It was a difficult course, and I struggled with the abstract level on which the concepts appear to be taking place. You can't see atoms or electron shells. After weeks of Miss Serrier beating her head against a brick wall, that is me, I considered dropping down. But one morning in class, as Miss Serrier gave her lesson on dipoles and molecules, I found myself staring at her hands. To me, it seemed like she was gesturing in a very specific way, as if she were shifting some substance from one hand to the other. "Get it?" she asked. There was an unconfident silence, so she started over again, trying to really spell it out. And then I saw it materialize out of nowhere. Miss Serrier was holding a molecule in her hands, and I could see the electronegativity shifting from one hand to the other as she said the dipole could be in this direction or it could be in that direction. Do you see? And for the first time, I did. Not that Chem 1 was easy after that or that it entirely made sense, but at that moment, I saw for the first time the potential to understand something that I had never understood before. Now we're leaving, and I know that Commonwealth will go on without us, and in fact, we are about to go on without Commonwealth to college. And I know I said earlier that I used to really like the idea of getting on trains because it means experiencing new places and new things. Is it something I said? Okay. Oh, so where was I? Oh! Okay, I'll wait more. We were waiting for you. Okay, I'm gonna start again. Thank you. So anyways, I know that Commonwealth will go on without us. Speaking of moving on. And in fact, we are about to go on without Commonwealth to college. And I know that I said earlier that I used to really like the idea of getting to ride on trains because it meant experiencing new places and new things. But right now, I don't want to go anywhere. Much like the Dove chocolate wrapper predicted, at this moment, I feel like I am right where I'm supposed to be. Because it's not the subjects of chemistry or cross-country alone that make up what has been my experience of Commonwealth. It's Mr. Clifford pushing me to do cross-country, and Miss Haber helping me to get through it. And well, I don't think anyone else has eaten chocolates with Miss Haber as a way to cope with the solitude and the loneliness of the cross-country runner. Everyone has their own version of Miss Haber, whether it be Mr. Connolly or Miss Brewster or Mr. Davis. Every teacher in the school has given that kind of attention and support and warmth to the students at Commonwealth. And I know that not everyone got the chance to take Miss Grant's India class, which she decided to teach based on her own personal love of all things Indian. But everyone has had classes like it, whether it be Russian Lit or space-time physics or US history, classes where both the teachers and the students have an abundance of passion to fill the class time. And not only the teachers, but the students shape the experience of going to Commonwealth. For me, it's the way that Aaron Dimson Doyle pushed us both to direct a musical for our senior project, how Asa Goodwillie agreed to do something he had never done before and act in a musical, beautifully. It's the way students even volunteered to bake last minute to give us enough money to do the play. The ways so many people in the community turned no's into yeses and allowed us to do something. The same way, it's the way that students who may never have thrown a Frisbee in their life can join Ultimate and play side by side with students who have been playing all their lives, and they can count on the support of their teammates. And in our last Readings and Ethics class, Mr. Warden said that true learning happens through relationships. And for our class, this school will always be made up of those relationships with peers and teachers that bring out the part of ourselves we didn't know existed before and allow us to keep building, keep growing, keep changing. When I was little, I used to like watching the window of a moving subway. Like I said, I really liked trains. The train would go into the tunnel, and I'd watch as vague flashes of light from the outside mixed with reflections of the inside. In a moment, somewhere in between the light and reflection, a shape would appear, something three-dimensional that looked real enough to touch. I'd reach out my hand to grab it, but at the last second it would collapse back into the flurry of light and noise. Looking at these past 4 years now is like looking in the subway window again. After squinting just to catch a glimpse, the something real emerges, like Virginia Woolf says in her novel Mrs. Dalloway, as if from a grain, in the most unlikely places, it would flower out, open, shed its scent, let you touch, taste, look about you, get the whole feel and understanding. Looking at Commonwealth, at the rows and rows of your lovely faces, I see the gift it has been.